In a small, quiet village nestled between rolling hills lived a young boy named Leo. Leo was bright, energetic, and full of dreams. He wanted to be a great artist, a renowned musician, and a celebrated writer, all at the same time. His room was a testament to his scattered ambitions. A half-finished painting on an easel, a dusty guitar in the corner with a few learned chords, and a notebook filled with story ideas, none of which went past the first page. He would start each day with a fiery burst of enthusiasm for one passion, only to have his attention snatched away by another by midday. His progress was a collection of beginnings, a gallery of unfinished potential. His parents, though loving, watched with a gentle concern. Seeing his frustration grow with each incomplete project, he felt like he was running in a dozen different directions at once, but never actually arriving anywhere. The weight of his own unfulfilled dreams was becoming a heavy burden, and the vibrant spark in his eyes was starting to dim. He saw his friends finding their paths, one focusing on his sport, another on her studies, and he couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. Why was it so easy for them, and so hard for him? One afternoon, feeling particularly lost and disheartened, Leo wandered away from the village and into the ancient woods that bordered his home. He walked for what felt like hours, the canopy of leaves overhead shielding him from the world. He eventually came across a clearing he had never seen before. In the center of the clearing sat an old man, his face a roadmap of wrinkles etched by time and wisdom. The man was meticulously carving a small, intricate bird out of a single piece of wood. Leo watched, mesmerized. The old man's hands, though weathered, moved with a grace and precision that was captivating. Every sliver of wood he shaved off was deliberate. Every line he carved was purposeful. There was no wasted motion, no SECC. The world around him seemed to fade away. There was only the man, the wood, and the emerging form of the bird. Leo sat quietly, not wanting to disturb the profound concentration that enveloped the clearing like a silent, invisible dome. After what seemed like an eternity, the old man placed the finished carving on a nearby stump. It was a masterpiece, a tiny, perfect sparrow. So lifelike it looked as if it might take flight at any moment. He finally looked up and noticed Leo, his eyes twinkling with a kind and knowing light. "You've been watching for a while, young one," he said, his voice as gentle as the rustling leaves. "What troubles your mind?" Leo, usually shy around strangers, felt an inexplicable comfort in the old man's presence. He poured out his heart, his words tumbling over each other in a rush of frustration. He spoke of his many dreams, his scattered efforts, the feeling of being a ship without a rudder, tossed about by the changing winds of his own interests. He explained how he started everything with passion but finished nothing, how his enthusiasm would wane as soon as a new, shinier idea appeared on the horizon. "I feel like I'm failing at everything because I'm trying to do everything," Leo confessed, his voice barely a whisper. The old man listened patiently, nodding slowly. When Leo had finished, the man didn't offer immediate advice or easy platitudes. Instead, he picked up a small, smooth stone from the ground and handed it to Leo. "Tell me, what do you see?" he asked. Leo looked at the stone. "It's just a rock," he said, confused. The old man smiled. "Now," he said, pointing towards a massive, gushing river that flowed at the edge of the clearing, its current powerful and chaotic. "Throw this stone into that river." Leo did as he was told. The stone disappeared into the churning water with a small plink, instantly lost to the river's might. "Now," the old man said, "look over there." He pointed to a spot where a tiny, persistent stream of water dripped from a high rock onto a large boulder below. Drip, 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 for 100 years. That single drop of water has fallen on that exact same spot. "What do you see on the boulder?" Leo walked closer and saw it. A deep, smooth hole, carved perfectly into the solid rock, exactly where the drops had been falling. "The river," the old man explained, "is like your energy when it is scattered. It is powerful, yes, but it rushes in all directions, affecting everything a little but changing nothing profoundly. It can move pebbles and stir mud, but it cannot shape the great stones. Your talent and your passion are like that river, immense and full of potential. But because you spread them thin across so many streams, they lose their force. You are trying to be the entire river all at once." He then pointed back to the dripping water. "But that single drop of water," he continued, "is the power of focus. It is small, seemingly insignificant on its own, but with unwavering consistency, directed at a single point, it can bore a hole through the hardest of stones. It doesn't get distracted. It doesn't decide one day to fall a few inches to the left or right. It has one purpose, and it dedicates all of its existence to that purpose. This, young man, is the secret. It is not about the size of your talent, but the direction of your focus." Leo stared from the roaring river to the patient, hole-boring drip of water. The old man's words echoed in his mind, and for the first time, everything clicked into place. It was a revelation, a moment of profound clarity that washed over him like a calm tide. He finally understood. His problem wasn't a lack of talent or a lack of passion. It was a lack of a single, defined target for that passion. He had been trying to carve a mountain with a flood, when he should have been carving a masterpiece with a chisel. He looked at the old man, his heart filled with a gratitude so immense it left him speechless. The old man simply smiled, a warm, encouraging smile that said he understood. "Choose your stone, young one," he said softly. "Choose the one thing that sets your soul on fire more than anything else. Give it your time, your energy, your unwavering attention. Be the drop of water. The other passions don't have to die. They can be the streams that feed your main river later on. But first, you must carve the path." With a renewed sense of purpose, Leo thanked the wise old man and walked back to his village, no longer feeling lost, but guided. The world seemed different, brighter. The cacophony of his competing ambitions had quieted into a single, clear note. When he returned to his room, he didn't see a mess of failures anymore. He saw a collection of possibilities. He looked at the painting, the guitar, and the notebook. He thought long and hard, not about what he could do, but about what he must do. He remembered the feeling of a pencil in his hand, the joy of creating worlds with words, a joy that had always been the most constant and true. He picked up his notebook. He put the easel and the guitar away, not with a sense of loss, but with a promise to return to them later, once he had carved his first hole in the stone. That day, he began to write. He wrote about a boy who met a wise man in the woods. He wrote every single day. Some days the words flowed like a gentle stream, and other days they were a struggle, a single, hard-won drop, but he never stopped. He was the drop of water. Years passed. Leo became a writer. His stories, filled with the wisdom he had learned, touched the hearts of people far and wide. He had carved his mark on the world, not by doing everything, but by doing one thing with all of his heart. And in time, when his path as a writer was solid and clear, he found his way back to his other passions. He learned to paint the characters from his stories, and he composed music that became the soundtrack to his imagined worlds. They were no longer distractions, but beautiful tributaries flowing into the great, powerful river of his life's work. He never forgot the lesson from the woods, that true power doesn't come from the breadth of our ambitions, but from the depth of our focus. So I ask you, what is your stone? What is the one thing you will dedicate your focus to? Stop being the chaotic river. Be the drop of water. Choose your point and start carving. Your masterpiece is waiting.